Hi, this is Mrs. Knight. Today we're going to be looking at market research. So this lesson will be an ideal foundation for you to build some knowledge which we can then apply to your coursework once we are back in school. So I know some of you are already aware of what market research is, but what I'd like to do today is run through, again, market research, the different types, the benefits and drawbacks. And then I've got a preparation document for you to fill in using the information from this PowerPoint. And when we are back in school, you can use this information to add to your coursework. So it's still going to be beneficial for you. Okay, so what is market research? So before a business launches a new product or way of doing something, they will conduct market research to find out what customers want. They may amend their product or service based on this particular feedback, but they will do market research to see if there's a gap in the market, to see what people are willing to pay, to see what competitors are doing as well. So it will be of benefit to the business. So all this kind of research, finding out what customers' wants and needs are, is called market research. And market research looks at the 4 Ps of marketing. So if you think back to when we started to look at functional areas, we also covered 4 Ps of marketing. And have a think now if you can remember what the 4 Ps are. And they all begin with P, and they're all to do with getting a product out there and making customers aware of it. So pause the video for a moment and have a quick think. The 4 Ps, we've got product, price, place, and promotion. So, price is what people pay or what they are willing to pay. Product is the actual good or the actual service which you are selling to the customer. And then we've got place and promotion. So place is the actual location where people buy. So do they buy online or do they buy from a retail outlet? And promotion is how a business makes customers aware of the products and services they've got to sell. So what magazines do people read? What TVs do they watch, etc. So when we're thinking about finding out market research and finding out about what your customers want, how can this market research be conducted? So pause the video now and note down a couple of points as you think about how you, as a business, can find out or how you can conduct some market research. Okay, so let's have a think about the answers that you've come up with. So think about your answer. Obviously, if we were in class, I'd get you to discuss this with somebody sat next to you, and then would feedback the answers. But because we're not in class, I'll go through it with you. So did you get any of these ideas here? Did you get a questionnaire? Did you get an interview? Again, a method that can be used to find out what people think. Did you get social media? Again, a more modern way of finding out people's thoughts, opinions, etc. What about internet research? An easy way to go and find out about local businesses or what else is out there in the market. A taste test. We've also got observation, focus group, and survey. So these are all examples of different types of market research. Okay, primary or secondary. So if you remember to when we were back in class, we started to look at market research and we came up with the idea that market research can either be primary or secondary. Have a think to what if you could give me a definition of what primary is, and if you could give me a definition of what secondary is. Pause the video and note down your answer. Okay, Hopefully you got that. Primary is finding out information firsthand. So this is where you would take ownership and you would go and conduct a survey, or you would do a questionnaire, and you would find out specifically what your customers are looking for. Secondary, on the other hand, is where you would access data that has already been collected. So some of the data may be relevant, some of it may not be valid, it may be out of date or not specific to your particular business purpose. So in order for you to think about which is primary and which is secondary, I've got a little bit of an exercise for you to do. So is this primary or is this secondary research? Conducting a survey of every 5th person passing you in the street, is that something that you're going to do firsthand, or is that something that's already been completed? Primary or secondary? Write your answer down. And now I'm going to tell you what the answer is. It's primary. It's primary because you are conducting it yourself. If you got primary, well done. Next question. So looking at information online about a particular area, pause the video, then note your answer down, then I'll go through it. Okay, hopefully you got secondary. So if you're looking at information online, this is information that's already been carried out. So this is secondary market research. Next one. Interviewing people through a telephone survey. So pause the video now, write down if it's primary, write down if it's secondary, and then restart the video afterwards. Right, hopefully for this one, you would have got that interviewing people through a phone survey is primary because you're finding out firsthand what people would want and you're doing it through the medium of a telephone. Next one, asking your classmates 20 questions. Pause the video and note down if you think it is primary, you're finding it out firsthand, or secondary, you're looking at data that's already been collected. Okay, hopefully you would have got this as primary because if you're asking people in your class, this is information that's going to be collected firsthand, so this would be primary research. Copying prices from an advert in the newspaper. Pause the video, write down if you think it's primary or secondary, and then restart the video. Okay, back again. So hopefully you've got secondary. If you are looking at something that is already there, whether it's in a newspaper, whether it's online, it is secondary because someone else has already done all the hard work in collecting that information. Sending a questionnaire to people through the post. Pause the video, write down the answer, and then restart the video. Okay, so if you're sending a questionnaire to somebody, whether you're doing it face-to-face, whether it is online, whether it is over the phone, it's a questionnaire that you are collecting the information firsthand, so this would be primary research. Asking people to complete a survey on social media. Pause the video and then note down if it is primary or if it is secondary. Okay, asking people to complete a survey on social media is primary. You are getting information for a specific purpose for your business, so this would be primary because it is specific to your business needs. Researching information from the internet, pause the video and then restart it when you've got your answer. Okay, easy one here, looking at information that already exists, whether it's on the internet or whether it's anywhere else in any other different medium. This is secondary research. Okay, so now we come to look at the benefits and drawbacks of these. And instead of me going to get you to do all the research. What I've done here is I've put all this on this slide for you, and then later you'll be able to replay this video again, and when I've given you the document, you'd be able to transfer some of this information into the document when you're looking at the benefits and drawbacks. So primary research is really, really beneficial to a business because it's specific to you. You're collecting information that at that point in time is up to date, and it's going to be directly relevant to what your business is wanting to find out, and only you, as your business is conducting this information, conducting this survey or questionnaire, you are able to access this information. Your competitors can't get it. It's specifically for you. A drawback, and one of the major drawbacks of primary research, is that it takes a long time to conduct primary research. It's also really expensive in terms of the time it takes for people to get this information, but paying people to actually conduct market research and then to analyse the results and then to process those results into useful data. Also, your results can be misleading. If you've only asked 3 people in year 9 if they like going to the school cafe at break time and getting a baguette, is that going to be representative of everyone in year 9? If you asked 5 people if they like having pizza and they all said no, is that going to be representative of everybody in year 9? Does everybody in year 9 not like pizza? So you need to think of the sample size, and because it's impossible to ask everybody, you would have to pick a small sample that would be representative. So a problem with primary, if you're finding something out for yourself, you may pick too small a sample size. And next week, when we continue looking at market research, we will start looking at sample sizes. Okay. Secondary research methods. So here are some advantages and disadvantages. Again, I've selected these for you to save you doing some additional research, but if you wish to add some of your own, you're very welcome to. The main advantage of secondary is that someone else has already done all the hard work, which is great. It's easy for you to go and collect it. So you can look at any kind of trade magazine, you can go on the internet. There's lots of things available for you to look at. And the main reason is because someone's done all the work, it's easy for you to gather. So it's not going to cost you much. It's going to be relatively easy to access. But the major problem is this information could be out of date. It may be totally irrelevant for your particular business situation, and it may not be reliable. So if you're basing a business decision on this particular data, it could mean that your decision for when you come to launch your product may not be accurate. If you wish to pause the video, please do so now and make some of these notes. So, why would you ask people their opinion? Why would you bother conducting market research before you launch something? The main thing is that most businesses go into business to provide goods and services to meet customer wants and needs. There's no use producing, or there's no point producing a product that nobody wants because nobody's going to buy it. And if nobody's going to buy it, you're not going to make any money and your business is going to struggle to survive. So the main reason about asking people what their opinions are is that you're going to make a product or a service that people want, that people are going to buy, and therefore there's going to be huge demand for, so potentially you could make a lot of profit and be very successful. Now, this is the bit that I want to get onto. So this is the bit where you have to go start doing a little bit of work. In a moment, I'm going to share a document with you, and this is going to help you prepare for task 2 of your coursework. So this is where we start looking at market research. This is where we start looking at the different types of market research. We look at the benefits and drawbacks of the different types of research. And this is where you decide the types of market research you wish to use for your particular business. Now, I'm going to quickly show you this document. and this is the document here. It says RO65 Task 2 Part 1 Preparation Booklet. Now, you may wish to download it, or you may just wish to use it on the screen and write your work up on paper. That is absolutely fine. So if we scroll down to the first task here, it says, what is market research? And then there's a space for you to put the source. So if you wish to use the definition that I've used on the earlier on in this PowerPoint, you can use that. If you wish to go on the internet and get a definition, you can use that. As long as you explain in full what market research is and you put down the source. Okay, moving on to question 2, what methods of market research are available? So here you could talk about primary, you could talk about secondary, and explain each of those separately. Again, put the source of your information down. Next, we scroll down to number 3. How important to businesses is market research and why? So here is where you could use some of the notes that you used earlier on in the video, where we talk about how a business can benefit and how a business can adapt its products and services to meet customer wants and needs. Again, you can use my notes and the notes from the PowerPoint, or alternatively, you can go onto the internet and find some others. Write that out in a full paragraph and then put your source at the bottom. Once all this has been completed and we are back in school, we will be able to take this information and upload it straight into your coursework. So the work we are doing here is not wasting any time at all. It's going to give you an advantage for when we are back in the classroom. The next part, again, would be very, very useful for your coursework, is where you are looking at the different research methods and you are looking at advantages and disadvantages. So you may wish to go back onto one of the slides on my PowerPoint and look at where I looked at both primary and secondary market research, looking at different methods separately and telling me what the benefits and drawbacks are. So here you may pick something like an interview, which is primary, or a questionnaire, which is primary, and tell me the advantages and the disadvantages. Then you may pick a secondary source where you are looking at, you may look at like the look at internet, so internet research, or looking at competitor data on the internet, or you may choose to look at government publications or a Mintel report, and then you would look at the advantages and disadvantages. Try to come up with at least, 3 or 4 of each. If there are not enough boxes, you can add extra ones in, or you can do it on a separate piece of paper. The next part, it says, which methods are you going to carry out for the business challenge? So when we were back in class, you may have already decided that you're going to do a questionnaire, or you're going to look at competitor data, or you're going to do an interview, or you're going to do a focus group. I would pick for primary 2 for primary and 1 for secondary, or pick 1 for primary and 2 for secondary. The more methods you have, the more information you can gather, and you can use that to support your HAT proposal. You are likely to get a better grade, but most people usually start off with a questionnaire and then using some competitor data from the internet. A lot of people do either an interview or a focus group. So write down your reasons and then explain why you want to pick them. This doesn't mean that you're going to go and carry it out now. It means you're just writing down what you are going to do once we are back in the classroom. Okay, the next one, it says, how can the results of market research be presented? So for this one, you could present it in the form of a graph. You could do tables of results and then present them as bar charts, pie charts, etc., and explain the data. You may think of other ways you could present your market research. You could present it in the form of a report, in the form of a slideshow, in the form of just lots of data. It's entirely up to you, but write them down and write down why they would be presented in that particular way. Okay. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon, and I look forward to getting your work in. If you have any problems, just please email me. Thank you.